Hi, I'm Joseph Khateri, realtor in the state of Virginia, and today I will tell you the top 5 mistakes that homebuyers make when purchasing their first home. So let's go right into the first step, but before that, make sure you watch until the end of the video because you could save thousands of dollars along the way. So first up, most people are stuck in the 2020-2021 era of the home buying boom where they skip a home inspection. Don't fall into that trap. Do not do that. A home inspection is always a recommendation I give my clients, no matter what type of house you end up buying. If you end up skipping your home inspection, it could be a serious mistake that could have extreme consequences for home buyers. A home inspection, for those that don't know, is an objective evaluation on the physical condition of your property. I mean, it makes sense. Home inspection of the home. It's performed by a third-party professional home inspector who has training, who has the experience to identify each and every problem associated with the house. During a home inspection, the inspector will look at the structure and systems of the home, including stuff like the roof, plumbing, electrical, heat and cooling, roof. Did I say that already? And they'll also look for, stuff you might not normally think about, like pests. Termites, for example. And after their usual, maybe 2 to 3 hour inspection, they make a huge, usually in my experience, 30-ish page report about the condition of the home, every single issue developed into different categories, ranging from, harmless stuff all the way to please fix this right now. And in my opinion, it is a crucial step in the home buying process. It helps identify any potential future issues with the home or current issues, and you can even negotiate with the sellers to fix these problems before closing. And the better part, if the seller's unwilling or unable to fix these issues, and you don't like that, well, you can simply break the contract. It is null and void, just like that. Now, obviously, you have the option to negotiate, maybe lower the price, whatever you may have to do between your side and the seller side to make the deal work. But again, if it doesn't, you can void. Your realtor needs to write that into the contract, a home inspection contingency, but that is for them to handle. Just saying it is an option out there. And the reason you want a home inspection is because money. Honestly, it all boils down to time and money. You could end up having unexpected or costly repairs down the line. For example, you might not realize that your roof needs to be replaced until it starts leaking during the first big storm of the season and ends up causing flooding inside your home. You might not realize that there's electrical or plumbing issues until you end up finally on move-in day going to charge your phone and then it just doesn't work. These types of issues are expensive to fix, especially since you need specialists, and they could have been avoided if you had a home inspection and knew about it before purchasing the property. A homeowner I know skipped their inspection and a pipe burst. It burst inside of their wall and they ended up having $15,000 worth of damages. So, lesson learned. Get home inspections. Now, it doesn't guarantee that the home has absolutely no fault or all faults have been fixed, but it does provide a level of protection and peace of mind for the buyer. It's well worth the cost for a professional to come out and evaluate the home, evaluate the condition of the property before you commit to purchasing it. It's only usually around $500-ish and could save you so much money in the long run. So I'm just saying, go do it. Nike style, just do it. It's not 2021 anymore. It's not that huge bubble. You don't need to skip a home inspection in order to have an enticing offer. Homes are sitting on market for 30 days now, 60 days. And the second mistake I see people making constantly is not hiring a realtor at all or hiring a bad one. Now, I'm obviously not going to name any names because that would be unethical for me to do so. I'll just say the network of bad realtors themselves as a term more than anything. Now, a realtor is obviously a professional who helps you buy or sell a home, and they can make, in my opinion, I might be biased, but they can make all the difference in the process. A good realtor will be knowledgeable about the local market. They'll be able to negotiate on your behalf and have your best interests at heart. On the other hand, the exact opposite could be true. A bad realtor might have maybe not your best interest in mind. They might try pushing you into a home that just isn't right for you, or maybe they're just not willing to take the time to negotiate to get you, the best deal possible. Or like we kind of worked in the last point where if you have a home inspection, you sometimes just need to negotiate. Working with a bad realtor can be frustrating and can, again, cost you so much money. So how do you avoid hiring a bad realtor? Well, do your research. Ask friends and family for recommendations, read online reviews, read Google reviews, see what everybody else's experience have been like. You can also ask realtors for references and contact their past clients. Any good realtor out there is going to have a huge list of clients that will obviously say good things about them because they're great. And again, if you do need a realtor like this or you personally are buying in Virginia, contact me. DM me. I respond to every message, so just do it. It's also a good idea to have a pretty clear idea on what you're looking for before you start, working with a realtor in general. It'll help you communicate your needs, preferences, and it just makes it easier for your realtor to find homes that are a good fit for you. For example, if you definitely want a garage, if you definitely want 2.5 acres, mention it. And finally, just trust your gut, trust your instincts. If you don't feel comfortable, don't work with them. There are going to be hundreds of realtors in your area. That's just how it works. And the most important thing is finding someone you feel comfortable with, who you trust, and who can represent you in the best of your interests. Don't make the mistake of not going with a realtor or just hiring a bad one. It is a huge important decision that can make or break your deal. And for those wondering, if you just Google Joseph Khateri Realtor, you actually see my Google profile right here. So again, if you're looking for a realtor or just want me to hook you up with one, DM me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I check all of them daily. I work out of Virginia personally, but I have friends anywhere and everywhere all over the world and free advice I can always give. And before we go to this next step, please take a moment to subscribe. I currently have 350 subscribers and 91% of watchers aren't subscribed. So go do that, go subscribe right now. I also have another channel where I tour homes in virtual reality, so go subscribe to that one too, that's in the description. Okay, back to the video. So the third mistake to avoid when buying a home is skipping title insurance. Now yes, this one is a little bit weird, but let me explain. Title insurance is a type of insurance that protects you in the event of any issues with the ownership of the property. This can include stuff like unknown liens, errors in public records, or even fraud. Now, is it crazy common to have title issues? No. But it is an important safeguard to have in place because if something does go wrong, it is going to be very expensive and very difficult to deal with. For example, let's say you buy a home and a few months later, you notice that there's an unknown lien on the property. Without title insurance, you could be stuck paying for legal fees and any other expenses needed to resolve the issue and remove this lien. It is extremely costly and very time consuming, and it is definitely something you want to avoid. On the other hand, if you have insurance, your insurer will just cover the cost of, resolving this issue and removing the lien. Now, yes, it is very easy to overlook this or just skip it entirely because you have other aspects to focus on when buying a home. But trust me, it's well worth the investment, very much just peace of mind type thing. And if something does go wrong, you're covered. It's also not crazy expensive for title insurance. It's usually around, according to basically everywhere, 0.5 to 1% of the home purchase price. And the good part, it's included in the loan usually, or at least in the general closing costs. Alright, so fourth on the list is not saving enough money for closing costs. Speak of the devil. So closing costs can be a significant expense, especially for first-time home buyers, since it's often overlooked or just underestimated in general. For those that don't know, closing costs are fees that are paid at the end of closing, and it covers stuff like legal fees, insurance, taxes, and it varies a lot depending on the location of the property, the type of mortgage you're using, the type of property itself. But it's important in general to have a clear understanding of what the closing costs are, since you'll ultimately be responsible for it and you have to save for it. Don't assume that, the seller will just pay for the closing costs or your lender will help you. You have to be prepared to pay your share of the closing costs and have the funds just openly ready when you need them. One way to get an idea on what your closing costs will be is to simply ask your lender for it. They will give you an estimate for the closing costs and it will be close. It won't be the exact down to the cent number, but it will be close enough to get you a figure of what to expect for. It's also a good idea to maybe shop around a little bit and compare closing costs from different lenders. Some lenders have higher closing costs, some have lower, so it just pays to do your homework. Usually when someone says, oh, we offer a lot lower closing costs, it's usually because their interest rate might be like 0.5% higher, but maybe you want that ultimately if you just don't have the cash. And if you're not prepared for these closing costs, it can cause delays in the closing process, and it could even cause a deal to fall through. I have seen that happen before. It's always once in a while we have someone that just ends up buying a 16 grand sofa instead of saving for their closing costs. It happens. It's always better safe than sorry, and to have the necessary funds maybe in your own hand or a separate bank account to, cover these expenses. But don't let a lack of savings for closing costs derail you from home buying. Just make sure to budget and save accordingly. And with what I just said, don't let it kill your dreams of home buying. It's because it's getting more and more common in today's market for these sellers to end up paying some of the buyer's closing costs. Not all of it, but a decent amount. Closing costs are generally around 3% of the home price. And in my area of Northern Virginia, sellers are crediting 2%, meaning you usually only have to cover around 1%. And that's a great thing because there are a lot of costs for, before, such as the down payment, or afterwards, which we will get to soon. Which brings us to the last and final point. Owning a home is a big responsibility, and there are many costs that come along with it after you close. One cost is utilities. When you own a home, you'll be responsible for paying for your own utilities, such as the electricity, gas, water, internet, and these can add up very, very quickly. So it's important to budget for them. If you were in something like an apartment, a lot of the utilities are included. Maybe you're living with parents, they pay for the utilities. You'll want to research the average cost of utilities in the area. You'll want to do some research such as what is the average cost of utilities in the area that you're buying in, looking in, and factor that into your budget. You can also ask your lender for some of this information. For example, the average utility cost in Virginia is $392 per month. In addition to utilities, there is maintenance cost to consider. As a homeowner, it is your responsibility to keep your home in pretty good condition, which can include fixing leaks, replacing broken appliances, yard work. It's not like an apartment where you can just call the super and it's done. Now, it's not exactly easy to pinpoint a cost or a fixed amount because it can extremely vary. According to this website, the average American spends $3,000 a year on home maintenance. But it is important to set aside maybe an X percentage per month, maybe 5% of your salary towards maintenance costs for your house. And it's also important to make a home maintenance schedule and stay on top of things so that you can have the best prevention possible. You don't want these smaller problems turning into larger, more expensive issues. You don't want to ignore a leaky roof until one day it caves in during a bad storm, and an original $100 plumber fix turns into a roof repair that costs 10 grand. Another cost to consider is furnishing your home. I actually keep seeing these TikToks of people moving into their first apartments or their first homes, and they're literally sitting on lawn chairs on the floor, and their TV's just sitting on the ground. They're eating off of paper plates, Hot Pockets, and it's because you need to budget for furniture and other household items before you move. This can include stuff like a couch, a bed, dining table, whatever you may need, and it can get expensive. So it's important to set aside enough money before you move to make your future home comfortable. For example, when I ended up moving away from Pennsylvania to Virginia, I ended up getting a lot of items for free on Facebook. I ended up just picking up free bed frames, free couches, hell, even a free printer at one point. A lot of free items that are kind of big ticketers, and I still ended up paying like $5,000 for miscellaneous items. Like, who would have thought I had to buy a fire extinguisher? Like, yes, it's obvious I should have one, but who thinks of that before they move? It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of buying a home and forget about these additional costs, but it is so important to be prepared for them. Make sure to set aside some money so you don't feel overwhelmed. And yes, I know that most of the things on this list is basically have more money, but the ease of mind that comes with it is unmatched. Be proactive in your budgeting for these costs so that you can enjoy your new home without worrying about something random happening that could just completely ruin what is supposed to be one of the nicest purchases of your life. So by now, you should know the 5 top mistakes that homeowners can make. Anyways, this channel is all about making educational and entertaining finance content, so hit the bell to receive updates on when I upload, and subscribe for more. And finally, don't forget to go down the description and DM me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn if you need to buy, sell, or lease a home anywhere in the world. Alright, that's all I got. Have a nice day.